Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the first of a two-part video series all about the Uniden R8. In this first video, we're going to go over how to use a detector while you're driving, going over the different buttons, the display, etc. In the second part of the video, we're going to go over how to optimize a detector, including going over the different settings and menu options that are available in the R8. Additionally, if you prefer to read over this information, I've got an article on my website that goes over all the same information, and I'll link to that down in the video description. You're also going to find some additional resources down there to the Uniden manual, for example, for the R8, the discussion forum if you'd like to discuss more about the detector, or the link to where you can purchase the detector itself. But with that said, let's go ahead and take a closer look here at the R8 and go over how to use it while you're driving. So starting off, you've got the main display here, of course, to display some basic information. At idle, you can display your speed, direction, altitude, different sensitivity modes, the time, etc. But then when you get any signals, you can interface with them here with the buttons at the bottom of the screen. And then you've also got 4 more buttons here at the top of the detector. So let's go ahead and just do a quick alert so you can see that in action. So then we'll just go ahead and mute that signal real quick. You'll notice when the signal pops up, it gives us the direction, front, side, or rear. It tells us it's K-band. We've got the frequency of the signal, and then we've got the signal strength down here at the bottom. If I let go of the trigger of the radar gun, you're going to see the signal strength start to fall. And then if I go ahead and start transmitting again, you'll see the signal strength jump back up. Now this button here is going to allow you to mute the detector like you just saw, or you can also unmute it if you like as well. Now, one other thing to know about with the mute button is this is also going to let you lock out a signal. So if you come across a stationary false alert, whether it's a speed sign on the side of the road or a door opener at a shopping center, you can actually teach the detector that this is a false alert and you can lock it out so it doesn't alert you to this signal again in the future. Now, the way you're going to do that is when the signal pops up, you're going to double press the mute button here. Then you're going to see it's going to say mute memory here on screen. The signal is now going to be grayed out on screen, and then you see the green text here for mute memory. This is for a GPS lockout. Now, if you want to go ahead and delete a lockout, say you inadvertently created it by maybe locking out a car nearby that's transmitting blind spot radar, that's a moving false. You only want to use this for stationary falses. So if you want to unlock a signal, you can just then double press it like that, and it's going to delete your GPS lockout and resume alerting normally. I'm going to go ahead and mute it like this. For the purpose of the video, I have the low speed muting disabled so that you can hear the alerts, but there is an option, since I'm stopped like this, to go ahead and mute the detector at low speeds. And we'll get into that in the settings part of the video. Now, over here on the left side of the screen, let's say you get an additional signal. This is going to allow you to display multiple signals simultaneously. So you can see the main signal right now is our Ka-band signal, 34679. If we get some additional signals, we can display up to 3 more here on the left side of the screen. This is called the all threat display, and you can turn it on in the settings if you like. I find it really helpful to see additional signals, and you're going to be able to see their direction, the band, and the signal strength right here on screen. Then this mute button, you'll notice that it says mute/dim. This is also going to allow you to not only mute and lock out signals, but also adjust the detector's display brightness. So I would go ahead and cycle through the different options real quick. So there's dim.
Dimmer, dark, off, auto.
Now, if you have the detector set to automatic display brightness, it's going to automatically get brighter in the daytime or dimmer at night, or you can go into the settings and have it automatically adjust based on time of day rather than ambient brightness. If you want to manually control the detector's brightness, say maybe the auto modes aren't working well for you, you can manually adjust the brightness. Bright's going to be your brightest option. You've got dim and dimmer, of course. If we go over to dark, this is basically going to have the detector's display off by default, but when you get a signal, it's then going to go ahead and light up and display it for you. Then once the signal goes away, the detector's display is going to turn back off. So if you really want the detector to grab your attention when you get a signal visually, you can use the dark option. One other cool thing, and it might be kind of hard to see, is at the bottom of the screen, there's some blinking dots that will actually move to let you know that, hey, the detector is still on, it's still detecting, it's still working, but for the most part, the detector's display is turned off. Now, the other option we've got off is basically going to always have the detector's display turned off. There's no dots at the bottom. There's also going to be nothing visually here on screen. We'll just mute it again. So the detector is audibly alerting, but there's no visual display at all. So the detector's display is fully off. And then we're just going to go back to auto display brightness like this here. Now, the next button here is for mark, and this is going to allow you to manually mark this location for specific reasons. You'll notice that it's going to say user mark log, and it's going to notify you every time you come back in this location. This can be useful if you want to get notified every time you come back to a certain area. So let's say there's maybe a common speed trap that's run in this area. You can get notified. Some people use it for school zones or for potholes in the road or for whatever else. Personally, I never really use this feature, but I know some people like it. And if you want it, you just press the mark button. You also have the ability to press the button again to delete any user marks that are created in this location as well. Now, on the top of the detector, we've got 4 different buttons. We've got the menu button, we've got the plus and minus buttons to scroll through the menu, or to change the detector's volume, and then we have the power button over on the right. Now, starting with the menu button, we can just press that, and then we can start scrolling through the different menu options here in the detector, again, which is what we're going to cover in the second video. Press the plus button, and you're going to start scrolling forward through the menu. If you want to go backwards, maybe you passed an option, you can press the minus button, and you can go backwards through the menu. If you want to change any of the options, you can just push the menu button like this, and it's just going to change the setting, turn it on and off, or maybe cycle through the different menu options that are available in the detector like this. Now, after a couple seconds, the detector will automatically time out and jump out of the menu, or you can press and hold the menu button like that to go ahead and exit the menu manually. Now, a cool trick, that menu button also does double duty to allow you to change the detector sensitivity on the fly. And to access that, you're just going to press and hold the menu button like this, and it's going to start cycling through the different sensitivity modes. So we've got advanced, highway, city, and auto. So we'll go ahead and I guess start by taking a look first at highway mode like this. Now, highway mode is going to give us full sensitivity on all bands at all times. If you switch the detector over to city mode like this, that's going to go ahead and drop K-band sensitivity to the absolute minimum to really help cut down false alerts from, say, door openers when you're driving around town. If you switch it over to auto mode, that's going to automatically adjust the detector sensitivity between highway and city based on speed. When you go into the settings, you can actually adjust the auto city speed threshold here, which again, we'll get into this in the other video. But basically, you can just start cycling through here and you can choose the speed threshold. Maybe above this speed, it's going to switch to highway mode, and then below it, it's going to be running in city mode. And then the last option is just going to be advanced mode. This is going to give you kind of more manual control of the detector sensitivity. So if you go into the menu like this, you can start actually adjusting the sensitivity of each individual band. So if you want to start maybe manually dialing back K-band sensitivity around town, you can do that here through advanced mode, and it's going to allow you to adjust X, K, and KA band when you have the detector set to advanced mode. Now, with the power button, if you want to just power off the detector, you can press and hold the button like this, and it's going to go ahead and turn off for you. If you want to turn it back on, just press the button like that, and the detector is going to power itself back on. Personally, I like to have the detector plugged into a power source that turns on and off with the car. So when you start your car, the detector turns on, starts working, and then when you're done driving, turn off the car, the detector turns itself off. Now, I know some people have the detector plugged into a power source that doesn't automatically turn off. Say your cigarette lighter is always powered, even while the car is parked. So you can turn the detector off manually if you like. Or there are some options in the menu that will automatically turn off the detector after a period of time. That can be useful too. Then on top of the detector, you've got a couple other quick things to point out. On the center, you've got the release button to release the detector from the mount. On the top left, behind that mesh, you've got the detector speaker. On the top right, that clear vertical thing is the rear laser sensor. And then if we flip the detector around like this, this is the front laser sensor. And this is actually the radar detector's horn where all the signals go in for the primary antenna. The rear antenna is located right here behind the Uniden logo. Then on the right side of the detector, you've got 2 different ports. The first one here is going to be your power cable port. The second one is going to be your USB port, which you can do for firmware updates by plugging the detector into the computer, or you can change settings by plugging it into your computer as well. Then on the other side of the detector, you've got 2 more ports. This is going to be for Uniden's optional and upcoming laser jamming system. Not available yet, but that's going to be coming. And then you also have a headphone jack if you want to plug in and get external audio. Maybe you ride a motorcycle, you can plug in your headphones right here. All right, and so now that we've gone over the basics of using the detector while you're driving, next let's go ahead and take a look at all the different settings and menu options available here in the R8 to help you optimize the detector's performance and minimize false alerts.